Alright, so we got Dylan's Bronco here, and underneath we got the shock tower, which is completely rusted out. The shock absorber is not even attached to it anymore, and we're just gonna replace this, as well as clean up the rust and give it a good undercoating. And then we got the bracket for the control arm in there as well that we're gonna replace. Alright, so once the wheel's off and it's all jacked up properly, you want to start taking your shock absorber here off, and then your coil spring. I'm going to start with the coil spring. It's going to be 1 1/8 inch nut on the bottom there. Just stick your breaker bar through in there in a socket. You could drop the socket through the top. And then there's, I think this is a 10mm up here or something. And then as for the shock absorber here, is just a bolt on the top, which I don't have to do. And then there's your bolt on the bottom, which is right there. So I'm going to start taking that off. Next is your 1/2 inch bolt up top. Comes right off. And then to get the spring off, you need to take the shock off first. So we're gonna do that next bolt now. Okay, so all the bolts are out. So just play around with the jack now, and give it a little persuasion with the sledgehammer to get that shock out. I think it should be all right to come out. I'm gonna lower the jack, which is underneath the brake rotor. And then let's give this all a tug. It's out. Out as well. If you're thinking about replacing any of the coil spring or your shock, or doing your bowler joints as well, this would be a perfect time to take a look at everything. But next we're going to get to grinding these welds off. Before we start grinding the welds off, just take this brake line apart. Just take this out because this runs through your bracket. Alright, so next grab your grinder, and I'll show you. We're going to start. There's 1 2 3 4, one on the bottom under here. 6, so 6 of them, and then another one under the bottom over here. We're going to grab the grinder and we're going to grind off these plug welds. We got one so we got one grinded down, and I don't know if you can see it, but you can kind of see the outline of the circle of where the weld was. That's how much you want to grind it down. You want to grind it flush with the grinder wheel. So we're gonna set up a time lapse, and we'll do the other 1 2 3 4 5 of them. So we'll set it up. Tug up top again. Hold on. Yeah. So we just got done grinding all the plug welds off, and already just pulling at the top, we could already pull it off. Next, take your sledgehammer. Take your sledgehammer and a quick give it a bang or two, and then slide a pry bar behind it, and we'll pull it off. All right. So once you grind them all the way down, you can literally take a screwdriver and a sledgehammer and just give it a little persuasion, and you can pop the plug welds right, literally pop really right through to the other side of the frame. And then you can take a sledgehammer and bang this right off. You can even pull it off like I'm doing right now. And of course, if it's not coming off, just keep grinding some more. But after you got this off, it's literally the hard work's all done. The grinding's really the worst part. That's done. And then we're just gonna clean this up and obviously paint the whole frame, give it a good undercoating, as well as all these suspension parts here. And we are going to throw some new brakes and ball joints in there today as well. But take a sledgehammer and you can pop the rest of that out, this plug here. But as for putting it back on, I'm going to show you, but it's really easy. It just bolts right in, and you should be good. On the bottom here, also realize that you got to push these plugs out or grind them flat so that it sits right, and you should be good. I'll show you. Good. Screwdriver go.
my name's D White. This is my Bronco.
Alright, so here's the new bracket that we just ordered. I'm just going to replace it with the one we pulled off. And it comes with the new hardware because we don't have plug welds anymore to go into each of the holes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up bolting this back on with a little bit of Loctite. But that's just going to fit right in there. We also painted everything with some of the bed liner, make it all nice. Should clean up behind it as well. And then that's going to go just like that. We're going to bolt it on. I mean, since everything's apart now, obviously do your brakes, do anything else you're looking at, get new springs, shock absorber. But I'll set up the time lapse and I'll show you how we're going to bolt this on real quick. Also, for the control arm bushing in bracket, we just finished up that too. It's really easy. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts. All it is just unbolt, bolt back in. And the big bolt, the nut on the back is 120 foot-pounds. That's really easy. A lot less complicated than this one here. So we'll set up the time lapse. Alright, now all your bolts are on except one in the corner here, which the plug weld in there is actually for the engine mount, the under engine bracket. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts. I gunned them on with the gun. Get them as tight as you can if you don't have a gun. And 5 is more than enough, because if you think about how the force is on this bracket, it's up and in, and it's an L bracket, so it should be good. I'm going to go over this with bed liner, and then we're going to start putting the suspension back together. Alright, so suspension back together. Spring first. You got your spring. Let's move this up. Let's give it a good push. Go in there. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. So spring in. You got your washer for the bottom. Just move that around. Washer for the bottom. And then your 1 1/8 nut goes on in there. And then the next is your 1/2 inch. You got your little clip here and your 1/2 inch bolt goes on. All right. Good. That's on there. Next is your shock. You got your nut up top and your bolt in the bottom. Make sure you put your bushing back on. Now I'll put some grease on it. All right, and don't forget to reattach your brake line as well as bleeding the brakes, and as well as your electrical connectors there as well. But you got everything tightened up and you should be good. Let me show you the other side. Came out beautiful. I got this brake line all up here. I just zip tied it onto here. I don't put it through your hole there. But
paint job underneath.
She looks beautiful. I don't know if you can see it, but we did the bed liner and it came out beautiful. But I hope this helps. All right, so that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you guys a quick way to just redo this. I know it's a common problem on the F150s and Broncos. But if you really like the Bronco build, definitely give us a subscribe and a follow. We got some other plans coming for this, some other suspension parts. I'm gonna show you how to undercoat it, and we might have a little diesel swap in the making. But hit the like if you like it. Throw down in the comments what you think, if I could have done anything better. And I'll put the parts from Rock Auto and everything in the description down below. But that's a wrap.